everybody, welcome back. Well guys, in this video we're going to be working on my mother's car again, okay? The 2002 Dodge Neon. Remember I made a video a while back doing some work to it. I think I put front brakes on it, recorded it, and done different things to it over the last several months. We put new headlight buckets in it, which I did not record, and we did the rear brakes. I didn't record that either. But we've done a lot to it, and now we got one more big project we're going to do to make Mama happy, all right? We're going to repaint the car. Alright guys, so in this video, please hear what I'm about to say. I am not trying to show you the proper way to paint a car or anything like that, okay? What I am trying to show you is that if you have an old cheap car, you know, a car's not worth a lot, that you can lay down a halfway decent, inexpensive paint job, okay? You ain't got to have a paint booth. You don't have to have, you know, special equipment, all that. All you need is just an old spray gun, which is what I've got. I've had for probably 20 years. And I've got the paint and stuff we're going to put on it, some sandpaper, some tape, and some paper, you know, to mask everything off, some plastic to cover up your prized possessions in your garage, and paint a car, okay? So a little back history. You know, I remember growing up when I was a little kid, and probably one of my earliest memories of my father was looking out the window of the house. We lived in town back then in Anderson, and looked out there, and there he was in the backyard now, straight up in the yard, right behind the house, with a Sears spray gun in one hand, a cigarette in the other hand, painting the family car, okay? And we painted, no telling how many cars he painted around the house, at the house in town or the one out in the country through the years. So that's what we're going to do here, man. We're going to get the camera turned around, kind of show you the car. That way we can get some good before shots and talk about what we're going to be doing to it today. Alright, so here's the old car, 2002 Dodge Neon, and I don't know how well you can see it there in that video, but I'm going to get some close-up shots to stick in. But the car, you know, it's a little silver paint. You know how these cars with the silver paint jobs do, they'll start getting real weather checked, and up here, man, it's peeling and it just looks terrible. Same thing on the deck lid back here. But we're going to paint the entire car a bright silver, okay? So, alright guys, so what's next? Is you can see the car's dirty and all that, but I'm not ready to clean it yet. I'm going to remove the wiper arms, this cowl right here, the headlights, tag bracket. I'm going to go to the back of the car and do basically the same thing back there. I'm going to pull out the taillight assemblies, take tag off the car, and anything else that I feel like I can easily remove, okay? It's just a few screws, pop it out. That's less we have to mask around and worry about. Alright? After we do that, I'll check back in, then we'll go back the thing back out after we remove those items and, you know, wash it real good. You see it's dirty, okay? So that's like the number one thing is you want to get your car clean before you start sanding on it or whatever. All right? So let me take all this stuff out and we'll check back, okay? Alright, there we go. You can see we've got all this stuff here taken off. Got the cowl, the wiper blades, all that out of it. Same thing on the back. I took out the tag, you know, took the tag off of it and the tail lights and all that. I put all the parts and pieces in the trunk of the car, so I don't have to worry about, you know, anything happening to them or whatever. They'll be with the car. Alright, so the next thing we got to do is pull it outside, and I'm going to give it a real good washing, okay? I'm just going to scrub it real good and get it as clean as we can before we even think about sanding on it, okay? Well, in case you're wondering, these little squirters right here in the hood, I was afraid that I was going to break these getting them out, so I'm just going to have to work around those and take them off. And they were just in there pretty tight, and you know, old plastic like that, you end up doing damage to them trying to get them out, so I'll work around those. All right, we just got the thing totally washed and cleaned up now. My sweet wife came out, Willa Jean, she gave me a hand, and we scrubbed this thing, man, I mean every crack and crevice, just with a brush and try to get as much of the grime and debris or whatever out of it that we can. And then we're going to let it sit here and dry for a little while. I got a fan going to blow on it. As soon as it dries up, I'm going to take the dual action sander and go to work with it and do as much as I can with the dual action sander and some, you know, 220 sandpaper to the point that we have to start the hand sanding. And then she'll come back out and she and I get out here and we'll wet sand it real good and get all the little places that I couldn't get with the dual action sander. All right, so let's do that next. Let's get to work sanding. All right, well, you can see what we've been doing. I've been sanding now for 2 or 3 hours on this thing. And this, on top of the hood, the deck lid, and the top of the car up here, the paint was just so weather checked. There's cracks and all in it. And I'm just going to sand the top coat off of it. I've just got some 100 grit paper on the DA, and I'm taking it down until I just see the gray primer underneath. And you can see I've done half of the hood. Got this side here still to do. But it's coming right off because it's already turning loose from the primer as it is. So I'll get this here cleaned up, and then after I do that, I'll go back over all of this again with a 400 grit paper, and then I'll start working on the sides of the car. And after that, then we'll start wet sanding. Okay, get all these little places that I can't get with the DA. But it's coming along, and it's just taking a long time. Of course, it makes a lot of dust, and I just open up the door and blow it off and let it go outside. I got a fan running here to keep moving the dust away. So anyhow, we're getting it slowly but surely, guys. So we're just going to keep after it.
All right, so it's late in the evening on the first day, and my beautiful wife, the beautiful Willa Jean, she comes out and she does all of the hand sanding around the car, getting all those little places and crevices and those edges that you just can't get with a with a machine or a dual action sander like I was using. So she spends several hours out there on that night just working and sanding. Man, I couldn't thank her enough for all she does. All right, guys, so you can see there it's the morning of day 2, and we get out there, man, and Willa Jean and me, we get out there, we wash that car real good and get it scrubbed as good as we can.
All right, everybody. So let me just kind of bring you up to speed where we're at. So we've already gave this thing a really thorough sanding. I mean, just as much as we could. We washed it completely and rinsed it real good, let it dry, come back and inspected it. We found a few places that we missed, did some more sanding, washed it again, let it dry again. And now what I've done is I've gone around with my air hose right here, and I've blown all of the little cracks and crevices, the park light lenses, the door jambs, the mirrors, any place that the little droplets of water could be hiding. I've got all that blown out. And you do that because you want to make sure that you get all that little bit of moisture that could be hiding. You don't want to find it when you start spraying your paint, okay? And you go across it with your gun and out comes some water drops. So I've got that done. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe the entire surface down with a surface cleaner, that's made to, wipe your surface down. And honestly, in years past, I've just used lacquer thinner, a good quality lacquer thinner, okay, and just wipe it down real good, and that helps get any, maybe surface contaminants off, whatever, like where you touched it with your hands or something. We'll do that right now, let that dry, and then we'll come back and start taping it up and getting it ready. All right, so let's get after it. All right, everybody. Well, that's the end of part 1. We're going to stop right here with the video. I don't want it to be too long. And so I want you to come back for part 2, where you're going to see us wipe the car down, and we're going to get it all taped out, thanks to my beautiful wife, the awesome Willa Jean. She's going to get it taped up for me, and then we're going to, start painting the car. So you'll be able to see some of the befores and afters and all that. All right, so hey, I appreciate you watching part 1 of us painting my mother's old Dodge Neon, and I hope you come back for part 2.